I met Emily in college during a philosophy class called Modern Ethics. She sat next to me on the first day, smiling with that confident, curious look. We talked about books, music, and how ridiculous the professor's questions were. By the end of the semester, we were inseparable. She studied marketing, and I was buried in computer science projects. We spent long nights studying together, surviving on cheap coffee and laughter. It felt easy, natural, like we were building something real. After graduation, we both found jobs in the same city and moved in together. We shared a small apartment with leaky pipes and dreams that felt too big. 2 years later, I proposed during a mountain weekend trip. She said yes before I even finished the question. Our wedding was simple but beautiful, full of people cheering for our future. I remember dancing with her, thinking we'd made it through the hardest part. We bought a house with a small yard, enough space for a golden retriever. We named him Rocky, our practice kid, as Emily liked to joke. I got promoted to senior developer at a software company. Emily climbed the ladder in healthcare marketing, ambitious and bright. Our life felt balanced. I cooked dinner while she told me about her day. We watched shows, argued about whose turn it was to walk the dog. It was comfortable, predictable, and safe. We took weekend trips, sometimes to the beach, sometimes to hiking trails. Emily loved planning vacations more than actually relaxing on them. She liked the details, the control, the feeling of having everything perfect. I admired that about her. I thought it meant she cared deeply about us. She was more social than me, always needing people around her. I was quieter, happier at home, fine with silence and small routines. She called me her steady anchor. I called her my storm. We balanced each other, or at least I thought we did. For a long time, our life moved like clockwork. Monday through Friday, work and dinner and Netflix. Weekends filled with errands, coffee dates, and the occasional double date. She loved attention, loved feeling admired by others. I never saw it as a warning sign. I thought it was just who she was, confident, magnetic, charming. Looking back, maybe that charm wasn't just for me. But at the time, everything seemed fine. We had a shared bank account, a shared calendar, and shared dreams. We talked about kids someday, when careers felt stable. I believed in that someday. I believed in her. When she mentioned wanting to join a local book club, I encouraged it. She said she needed more intellectual connection outside of work. I thought it sounded healthy, even refreshing. I wanted her to have something just for herself. I didn't realize that choice would change everything. If I'd known then what I know now, I might have held her tighter. Or maybe I would have learned to let go sooner. But in that moment, I was just a husband in love, proud and blind. And Emily, smiling across the dinner table, already had secrets in her eyes. It started with a flyer at the coffee shop near our house. A simple sign about a neighborhood book club for women. Emily saw it one morning and came home glowing with excitement. "They meet once a month, Mark," she said, waving her phone. "They read one book, drink wine, talk about life. It's perfect." I smiled and told her to join. She'd been stressed at work and needed something of her own. The first few months, it really seemed harmless. She came home after meetings, laughing about her new friends. There was Janet, the retired teacher, and Lisa, the mom with 3 kids. Monica was a nurse. Karen worked in accounting, and Bates sold houses. They sounded like a fun, normal group of women. Emily would tell me about their discussions, their jokes, their inside stories. She even brought home leftover snacks and wine sometimes. It made me happy seeing her so alive again. She had color in her face, energy in her voice. I thought this book club was a good thing for her. But then, small changes started to appear. At first, they were easy to miss. She started going to extra meetings that weren't on the calendar. Sometimes twice or 3 times a month instead of once. She said things like, "We're having an emergency book night," Or, one of the girls is going through something. I need to be there. Her explanations always sounded caring, believable, perfectly normal. I didn't question her. Why would I? We'd been married 8 years. Trust was supposed to be automatic. But the changes didn't stop there. She began dressing differently on those nights. No more casual jeans and sweaters. Now it was dresses, perfume, hair freshly done. I complimented her once, said she looked amazing. She smiled and said, "The other girls always dress up. I don't want to look sloppy." That made sense, so I let it go. But soon her phone habits changed too. Emily had always been open about her phone. She'd leave it on the counter, ask me to check her messages. Then suddenly, it was always with her. Even in the bathroom, even while cooking. When I walked into a room, she'd quickly turn off the screen. I asked once, half joking, "Got secret CIA work on there?" She laughed, said her company had new privacy rules. It sounded reasonable, so I dropped it. I didn't see that as a warning sign either. But something inside me started to feel uneasy. Her stories after book club grew shorter, less detailed. I'd ask, "What did you talk about tonight?" She'd shrug, "Oh, the usual, books, life, nothing special." The sparkle she used to have after those meetings was gone. Instead, she seemed distant, distracted, or strangely cheerful. Like someone trying too hard to act normal. I told myself she was tired from work, or maybe bored with reading. I didn't want to imagine anything darker. You learn your partner's rhythms after years together. Something in hers had shifted. But I convinced myself it was just stress. The truth was already sitting in front of me, dressed in red lipstick. And I was too trusting to see it. It happened on a Tuesday night, one that seemed ordinary at first. Emily kissed me goodbye that morning, saying she'd work late. She mentioned a big presentation due the next day, lots of pressure. "Don't wait up," she said, grabbing her coffee and laptop bag. I believed her without a second thought. That evening, I made dinner, watched TV, and relaxed with Rocky. Around 8, I scrolled through my phone, just killing time. Then I saw it. A new Instagram story from Emily popped up on my feed. The preview looked like a fancy bar, dim lights, people laughing. Curiosity made me click. And there she was. Smiling, radiant, cocktail in hand, makeup fresh and perfect. The caption said, "Husband thinks I'm at book club, girls' night. Sorry, not sorry." My heart stopped. It wasn't book club Tuesday. Their meetings were always the first Tuesday of the month. This was the third. I felt heat rush to my face as the truth hit me. She wasn't working. She wasn't reading. She was out drinking, lying about everything, and bragging online. I took a screenshot, hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Something told me that post wouldn't last long. Then I looked at the comments. And that's when the real horror began. "Wait, we're at book club without you," one of her friends wrote. Another said, "Emily, we're literally at my house right now. Where are you?" A third added, "You told us you'd bring the snacks tonight." My stomach dropped so fast I could barely breathe. Her own friends had just exposed her lie publicly. I took more screenshots, one after another, just in case she deleted them. The pieces clicked together like a cruel puzzle. She lied about working late. She lied about book club. And she'd made a joke out of deceiving me. I sat there, numb, the TV flickering in the background. Rocky laid his head on my knee, as if sensing something was wrong. I couldn't move. I just stared at my phone, replaying the story again and again. Her laughter in that short video felt like a slap. I started checking her past posts, looking for patterns. Photos from restaurants, bars, parties, always on book club nights. Tags from places she never mentioned. Smiling with people I didn't know. One picture showed her at a house party, leaning close to a man. Too close. His hand on her waist, her smile soft, intimate. It wasn't a coincidence. I'd been lied to for months, and she'd documented it for the world. I realized I wasn't just betrayed. I was humiliated, publicly, digitally, permanently. Every like and comment felt like a witness to my stupidity. I sat in the dark, scrolling, saving, remembering every detail. That night, I didn't confront her. I didn't call. I just collected proof, piece by piece. Because deep down, I knew this wasn't just one mistake. It was a story she'd been writing behind my back for months. The next morning, I woke up with a plan forming in my head. I couldn't sleep after what I'd seen the night before. Every image replayed behind my eyes, like a cruel movie. I needed proof, not just suspicion. I needed to make sure she couldn't lie her way out again. Emily left for work at 8, looking tired but calm. She kissed me goodbye like nothing had happened. I smiled back, pretending everything was fine. As soon as she drove off, I opened my laptop. I created a new email account with a neutral name. Something professional, something that couldn't be traced to me. Then I wrote a message to her boss, Mr. David Chen. It was short, polite, and devastating. I said I'd noticed concerning behavior by an employee named Emily Collins. I attached the screenshots of her post and the comments below it. I mentioned that she'd claimed to be working on a client presentation. But her social media showed her drinking in a bar at the same time. I said I thought he should be aware, for the sake of the company's reputation. Before hitting send, I saved every image to a secure folder. Then I took a deep breath and clicked send. The message was gone, and there was no turning back. For the rest of the morning, I waited in silence. At 11:23 a.m., my phone rang. It was Emily. Her voice shook like she'd seen a ghost. "Mark, something really weird happened today," she said. David called me into his office with printouts of my Instagram. I kept my tone calm, curious, innocent. "What did you tell him?" I asked softly. I said my account was hacked, but he didn't believe me. Her breath was quick, uneven. He checked the project file. "It hasn't been updated since last Friday." She paused, her voice breaking. "He's talking to HR. I might lose my job." I said, "That's awful," pretending to be supportive. Inside, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. That evening, she came home pale and shaking. She dropped her purse and sank onto the couch. "They suspended me. They said they're investigating my hours." Tears filled her eyes, but she still tried to explain. "I didn't mean to lie, Mark. I just went out for a bit." "Where?" I asked quietly. She hesitated, searching for a new excuse. "Some friends from yoga class," she finally said. I almost laughed. Yoga class. She hadn't been to yoga in 2 years. I nodded slowly, letting her believe I accepted it. I wanted her to keep lying. The more she talked, the deeper she buried herself. Over the next few days, everything unraveled fast. Her boss found evidence of fake overtime reports and false expenses. They checked her company card, matched it to bar receipts and dinners. By Friday, she was fired for misconduct and dishonesty. She cried for hours, blaming everyone but herself. And I sat beside her, holding the woman who had no idea that I was the one who pulled every string that ruined her perfect lie. After Emily lost her job, the house fell into quiet chaos. She spent her days on the couch, scrolling through her phone and crying. I acted supportive, cooking meals, pretending to care about her sadness. But inside, I was already planning my next move. I needed real proof of what she'd done. Screenshots weren't enough anymore. So, I hired a private investigator named Mike Reynolds. He was an ex-detective, professional and efficient. I gave him everything I had: photos, posts, dates, names. Within 10 days, Mike sent me his report. It was worse than I expected. Emily wasn't just sneaking out for drinks. She was living a full double life. The man in her photos had a name: Jake Morrison. He was 29, a bartender at an upscale lounge downtown. And he was married too. His wife, Emma, worked night shifts at the hospital. They'd been meeting for months, sometimes during her fake book club nights, other times during her supposed work trips. Mike had photos, videos, timestamps, everything. Emily and Jake in hotel lobbies, holding hands. At restaurants, laughing, leaning close across the table. In one clip, they kissed before getting into her car. My hands trembled as I watched, but my mind was sharp. Each lie she told replayed in perfect sync with the evidence. The author event had been a house party. The yoga celebration was a hotel stay. The Portland trip to visit her sister was a weekend in wine country. All funded by our shared credit card. I went through the bank statements line by line. There were charges I'd never questioned before. Hotel suites, expensive dinners, lingerie I'd never seen her wear. She used our money to build her fantasy life with him. It was deliberate, planned, cruel. Mike even followed them to Lakeside in one weekend. He caught them checking in together, holding hands like newlyweds. They stayed 2 nights. The bill, $780, appeared later on our joint account. I stared at the number for a long time. Every dollar was another betrayal. But what cut deepest wasn't the cheating. It was the care she'd put into lying. The rehearsed stories, the fake excuses, the calm voice when she lied to my face. She made deception her second language. Mike's report ended with a simple line. Affair confirmed, ongoing for approximately 8 months. I printed it, placed it in a folder, and locked it away. For the first time, I felt free from doubt. No more guessing, no more excuses. Emily's mask had shattered completely. That night, I looked at her sleeping on the couch, her face peaceful in the dark. I didn't feel love anymore. Just exhaustion, clarity, and a strange sense of calm. Because the game was over. She just didn't know it yet. And when the truth finally came for her, it would come with everything she'd tried to hide. I waited 3 more weeks before confronting her. By then, she'd started pretending everything was normal again. She cooked dinner, watched movies, laughed like nothing had happened. But her phone still never left her side. She didn't know I already had the truth in my hands. On a quiet Sunday evening, I told her we needed to talk. She looked up from her laptop, cautious but calm. I placed the folder on the table between us. Inside were the screenshots, receipts, and photos from the investigator. Her face went pale before I even opened it. I spoke slowly, almost gently. I know everything, Emily. She blinked fast, her lips parting but no words coming out. Then she laughed nervously. What are you talking about? I slid the first photo across the table. Her and Jake, kissing in the parking lot. She froze, eyes wide, mouth trembling. You hired someone to follow me, she shouted. You invaded my privacy. That's illegal. Her anger was desperate, not righteous. I didn't answer. I just laid out more photos, one by one. Hotel receipts. Credit card statements. Screenshots of her Instagram posts. Every lie laid bare, like evidence in a courtroom. She started crying, then switched to yelling. She said Jake was just a friend. She said the photos were taken out of context. She said I was paranoid and controlling. Every excuse made her sound smaller, weaker. Finally, she looked at me through tears and said, if you'd been a better husband, I wouldn't have needed someone else. That broke something in me. Not my heart, just the last bit of empathy I had left. I stood up and walked to the kitchen. When I came back, I handed her the divorce papers. Her hands shook as she took them. You're serious, she whispered. I'm done, I said simply. No shouting, no drama, just the truth. The next morning, I moved into the guest room. I froze the joint bank accounts and called my lawyer. Within a week, the legal process began. She tried everything to fight it. She claimed I was emotionally abusive. She said the evidence was fake, manipulated. but the proof was undeniable. Her book club friends testified against her, confirming her lies. They were angry, hurt, and embarrassed by her deceit. The court sided with me completely. She lost nearly everything: her share of the house, her savings, her credibility. Even Jake's wife filed for divorce after seeing Mike's report. He lost his job, his marriage, his reputation. Their affair crumbled the moment it saw daylight. In the end, Emily moved back in with her parents. She called once, months later, just to ask if I hated her. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. Her lies had built the walls between us, and truth had finally sealed them shut. That was the last time I ever heard her voice. Months passed after the divorce was finalized. The house felt quieter, cleaner, almost peaceful again. I deleted every photo of us, except one from our wedding day. Not because I missed her, but because it reminded me who I used to be. Emily disappeared from social media. Friends said she was back living with her parents, looking for work. Jake was gone too, his marriage and career destroyed like hers. Two people who thought they could lie forever ended up with nothing. Sometimes, I still wonder when the truth first started to die between us. Maybe it was a small lie, harmless at the time. But lies grow fast in silence. They take everything if you let them. Now I wake up without checking her messages or her stories. I walk Rocky in the mornings and breathe freely again. There's no anger left, just distance. She once wrote, "Husband thinks I'm at book club." Now, every time I think of that line, I almost smile. Because that one careless sentence ended a life built on lies. And as painful as it was, it set me free.